Hello, my name is Ryan Clark, and the educational thinker that I did research on was Saint Augustine of Hippo. And so, what I'm going to be going over is who was he and what were his educational views, impacts, and ideas. And then I'm going to follow up with a critique from the Orthodox Church and then my view. Now, Augustine was born 354 AD in Hippo, North Africa. He grew up in a poor home, in a poor environment, but his father pushed him to go to school. He attended Carthage College and studied rhetoric there. Now, rhetoric is the study or the art of effective persuasive speaking and writing, which is definitely something we all probably should be working on in school. Now, because of this background in rhetoric education, because it was such a high honor to have that ability, he was able to leave the area he was from and pursue education somewhere in some other places like Rome. And when he left for Rome, he wasn't on really good terms with his mother. He didn't want to follow her faith or her belief. And from there, he battled with a lot of lust and promiscuous women, having a child, and then leaving his Christian faith to follow more of a scientific faith that claimed to explain nature and all of existence. That view, or that religion or sect, they would say, is Manichees. Now, fast forward a couple years, and Augustine is now in Rome. Well, he's already in Rome, but he's still in Rome. Listening to St. Ambrose preach, and he feels at that point in his life that he needs to be baptized. And from there, things just changed for him. His mother was able to die peacefully a couple years after that, and he stayed around the area, did some writing, and then he left to go home and spent some time in North Africa, becoming the bishop of Hippo. Now let's transition into education views and ideas. Now, the reason we did not find Augustine in our philosophy books under a specific philosophy is because he has a view with a mixture of philosophies. And what I mean by that, he has more of a epistemology, existentialism, pragmatic. There's a lot of that just kind of mixed together, and I'm going to explain that here. So before I do that, George J. Yogis explains that Augustine viewed education as a passion for opening the mind to ideas and critical thinking. Now, Augustine wanted to answer questions about what was true and how do we know that's true early on, but he also expressed later that teachers are there to help the learner explore possible answers and to questions, and to help guide them and to open their mind to doing research and to understand questions, to help answer their questions. Now, all these sound really familiar because they're like a combination of those three philosophies. Now, in some ways, we view these ideas as skeptical, just because how can you have three different ideas? But Augustine also says that everyone should be given the opportunity to be properly educated. And I agree with this because he came from nothing, and God took that, and he took him from nothing, and he brought him into something great, and now he is the father of our Christianity. Now, his impact on education led to three styles of teaching. One, he restrained, because of this, his impact on education led to three styles of teaching. And the first style of teaching was restrained, which means that the teacher should not overload the student. The second is a mixed style, which is the teacher must elaborate using phrases or rhymes to keep the student attracted to attract the student. And then grand, the teacher must aim to move the students to action. Now, Augustine argued that it was better to not teach at all than to teach ineffectively with a poor attitude. And that's right on point. Nobody wants to be taught by somebody who doesn't care to be there, who doesn't care about the students. Now let's move on to the critique. Now, for the critique, the Orthodox Church was debating whether they should accept Augustine as a doctor in the church after he stated a large, or after he started a large disagreement as to what the Orthodox Church was really doing, what they were really about. This didn't go over with the elders whatsoever. He was rocking the boat hard, and they were not liking that. But the reason he was rocking the boat was because he was started to reassess his life and started reviewing over what he was believing and what he thought from when he was younger to now, and he was reassessing that. And while reassessing that, he started noticing that the Orthodox Church, was deteriorating. Its Roman theology was starting to slowly slip away, and because of that, he started to realize that he wasn't at odds with the Roman Church. He was at odds with the Orthodox Church of what the Roman Church was becoming. Now, with that being said, I agree with Augustine. I don't critique him. I don't have a critique against him because I agree with what he has to say. Why not after 30, 40 years from when you were a child, when you were learning and still becoming more educated, I would agree with that you need to definitely look back at your life and see what has changed, and then start to look at what's around you and what's been changing around you. And you can see that with the times, things have been changing. And he noticed that, and he's like, why are we changing? Like, this is what we thought for years and years. This is what we believe. Why are we slowly changing and slipping and bringing in views of the world when this is what we believed for hundreds of years? This is what we believe about Jesus Christ. And, that is my view of what Augustine is talking about here. Thank you.